So, we're back from our commercial break. There was no commercial.
It would be, once again, there would be if you people would sponsor us.
Yeah, we need more sponsors.
We will hawk whatever... Hawk? Did I screw that up?
Yes.
We'll sell whatever you want us to sell.
Well, you wrote a book. How is he supposed to say that?
Say that he... Well...
What was one of your mini majors?
Oh, anthropology. I'm not sure if that's accurate here.
I don't know.
Dinosaur bones and whatnot. I don't even... I screwed that up.
There's something different.
I was trying to sleep back here.
No, that's not it. See, I was trimming my beard, if you notice, in between the episodes. And I totally gapped it, so I had to go really far up. Well, you all shut up. I'm trying to host a show.
Well, you
and
should
now
try
I have
harder.
the shitty George Lucas beard.
You didn't have enough time on the commercial break. You should give yourself more time.
Trim better. I need to do more personal trimming.
Which brings it back to more sponsors.
Which we need.
You need to do more trimming? Is that what you said?
Trimming.
Oh my God! Can you imagine if we could get a sponsor for
What's a trimming?
A back razor for Joe, like a diamond edged back cutter. Listen, Gillette, get on it.
Somewhere on the back 40, I broke the diamond blade. She might have wanted to hold that cup.
Did you want?
I know it was kind of like a
safety thing.
It's a prop cup.
Do you want a pillow?
Yes,
I hold pillows.
I actually really do. Can I have that red pillow?
Yeah,
I did that last one. It probably looks super awkward, like on film, and I'm like,
no.
Wait, we're not. Wait, what are you talking about? This is all the same time and day.
Yes.
When you're.
I mean, yes.
When you're up with your child screaming, go back and watch some of the original episodes where I hold a pillow. I took so much shit on Twitter and Facebook for that I finally stopped.
Well, I'm not gonna stop.
I don't blame you. I hold it when I just sit around.
Yeah, it's sort of like a.
It's a safety blanket.
Prop.
Yeah, I know.
What it is.
It's very comfortable.
Yes, transition object.
My kid will actually bring me one on the couch.
That's sweet.
It is sweet.
That's pretty adorable.
Yeah, and then he'll scream and say something.
Well, that's just part of it.
That's absolutely part of it. Anyway, something's different about the couch.
It feels heavier on that side.
Oh.
I put on weight.
She called you Tubby.
I put on weight. This is the beginning of the end.
So
I'm collapsing into myself like a neutron star.
It's post-holiday. We're all in that spot.
Just to let everybody know, we were only gone 30 seconds.
And Chad was asleep behind the couch, and that's our story, and we're sticking to it. Do not compare our wardrobe to whatever we had on last time.
I'm still wearing the same thing.
I accidentally put on the same thing, but I wear only 2 short shirts.
Ever?
For 60, almost 70 episodes.
Episodes. I was like, it just in life? Because that seems
basically,
like not enough.
I am American unsuccessful Peter Jackson. If I could just roll around with no shoes and shorts on, that'd be great.
He has a Homer Simpson wardrobe. It's just the same thing.
It's pretty close as far as my dress clothes. It's black, gray, blue, darker blue, less dark gray. Right?
I think people sometimes think I wear the same pair of pants.
Do we have a guest?
Well, I mean, yeah.
All right. So we spent 50-some minutes talking about your life, your interest, how you got here, what you were doing with all those dead bodies in Tennessee. Let's get back.
Who would you have a drink with?
Who would you have a drink with? I still, we need to do the Cenobite one. We need to do Hellraiser Metal Management.
By the way, after we had that conversation only 30 seconds ago, one of the things that came up was, why is a female Cenobite only, like, she doesn't have a name? Like, there's chatter, she doesn't have a nickname.
Well, none of them had.
But I mean, she's just, even in the credits, she's female Cenobite.
Yeah, they do call the other ones in the credits, don't they?
No, not in the first one. They don't. He's just lead Cenobite. It wasn't called Pinhead until after the movie came out.
That's right.
But that being said, why is she always just female? You know, there's more to her.
Well, we'd have to look at Hellraiser too to see what they call them.
There's more than just gender to her. I think maybe she's really good at torturing.
Hashtag gender fluidity.
Hashtag feminism. Hashtag female Cenobite.
Hashtag females please sponsor us.
Hashtag
yes, females sponsored. Cenobite sponsor.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Pinhead. I still want to have a beer, man.
Check.
Yeah.
I won't even get a piercing. I don't want to hook through the flesh. I'm sorry.
We were talking about.
Flesh.
Well, that's a good question. Why don't you ask, since Chad was asleep and he's now awake?
Oh, okay.
What was your question?
My question was, if you could have a beer with any like horror movie villain with the understanding that he's not going to murder you.
That was my first question, by the way.
Yeah, he's like it's not who you can avoid. Like this isn't. I don't have that kind of stamina. Like I just want to sit.
About you.
I just want to sit
3
down.
pump chump.
I always figure
Which is weird because you're a woman.
I would never survive an apocalypse because I'm too tired. Like as soon as people start running from zombies, I'm like, oh motherfucker, I'm gonna lay down and get taken in this first wave because I'm just tired.
That's what I was saying. I automatically went to the Mad Max, and you're just like, no, I'll just go ahead and join the cult.
Yeah, no, it's it seems like
yay, Tina Turner.
Oh, it's kind of like The Walking Dead with what's his name? With the mullet. Did you all see that? Do you anybody watch The Walking Dead? Chad does.
I'm behind.
I quit after like 2 seasons.
He just goes, I'm Negan. I've always been Negan. It's anyway. Sorry.
I'm behind, but
I think I know who you're talking about though. But yeah.
I'm terrible with character names. What's your answer?
So so I'm gonna do 2.
God, it's gonna be the Garbage Pail Kid. Who's
no. The villain in that I would not go within 10 feet of. He had like long, greasy black hair, piercings. He was like the worst 80s villain ever. We're not going into that. I forgot his name. Crap, now I want to look up his name.
That's what phones are for, right?
Villain, Chucky.
You would have a beer with Chucky?
That's not a bad idea, actually.
Can Chucky get into the bar?
Well, of course he
can. Is this an issue?
No, not an issue at all.
Not an issue? Okay.
Okay. You threw out everything else. They're not going to kill you. They're fictional characters.
But are they
demon doll. Your question was, can he get by the bouncer?
That's what I want to know.
I want to see the bouncer actually stop him and going, listen, you've got a knife in your hand. I understand you're possessing a doll, but at the same time, the doll was manufactured 5 years ago.
But technically, it's an inanimate object being possessed. It's not really a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this
is the shit that kept us 55 minutes the last time we do this of never actually getting to your book.
What was the second one?
The second
so Chucky and then
Chucky. The second one would be the Unnameable because I want to get him in the bar and get him drunk and then proceed to see how much pissed off I get by just calling him names.
Okay.
Who's the Unnameable?
That's a good reason.
You seriously don't know the Unnameable?
What's it from?
It's the Unnameable.
Is it an 80s horror film?
Yes.
I think I've heard of it, but I've never watched it.
You didn't go with anybody
Have
from
you seen
that?
it?
I almost said Salmon Rush.
I mean, it's the.
Who was George Jeffries?
If you say it's the Unnameable,
it's a takeoff on Lovecraft, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because everything's unnameable with him. Which is kind of a good way to do things, honestly. I'm actually really excited that I saw something because I feel like I have not seen anything movie-wise or anything.
By the way, I should get kudos for pulling out that obscure piece of crap out of you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. You're welcome.
It reminds me that I was trying to read Lovecraft recently, and I don't have the love for it I did when I was in my teens.
No.
You know, I've reread Poe, and I still love it. But
well, good for you.
I'm just saying Poe never gets old. Because all his life.
But what is interesting about Poe, Chad?
Oh, well, he got drunk, died in the gutter, and banged his cousin.
What else did he do?
Yeah, I would say
he wrote some crap every here and there, but that's about it.
Nothing popular at the time.
Invented the detective story, you inbred hilljack.
And had a really bad mustache, like one of the worst in history.
I'd like for you to do better.
The only person that's worse than him, Mark Twain. Ugh.
Hitler?
Hack. No.
I hope both.
At least Hitler wasn't a hack.
I hope both of their spirits come into your house.
Oh my God!
And I don't want them to torture you.
I thought me saying Black Panther was overrated was controversial. Thanks, Chad.
It's Mark Twain's worse than Hitler.
Hashtag hate mail to Chad. Hashtag send it. Hashtag I'll make sure he reads it.
I thought you were going to say when you said
I only made these.
Say alt right.
Hashtag alt wrong is Chad.
We do not need alt right writing us checks.
You wouldn't take it.
I don't know at this point. I'd like to think I wouldn't, but I also know that I'm a whore.
Who is it from?
In every sense of the word.
Who is it from? We need Dan Halen to sponsor us. It's the Baby Death Trap. We here at Bonehead love the Baby Death Trap.
So, that's your two. Those are two good. Well, who was yours? Yours was Pinhead, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Always Pinhead. Even if it's a bureaucratic nightmare, I'm still going to have a beer.
He would be such a bummer to talk to, though.
Pinhead?
Yeah.
I just feel like he's I feel like he's pretty reasonable. Like
your beer will be flat.
About because of the rules. Is that where the bureaucracy came from?
Well, I guess it's just more that, like Michael Myers is just going to kill everybody.
And he doesn't talk.
And he doesn't talk. He sucks. But, like, Pinhead had a life before. Right. You know, he had, like, a personality, he had reasons. And it's like, okay, you open the box. That's a pretty easy thing to not do.
What is... it's a pretty easy thing not to accomplish. But...
I'm just saying, if it's life or death, no, I'm probably not going to
James, who was yours?
I went the devil. I mean, I went old school.
I don't remember.
No, but right, it was the Christopher Walken, not Christopher Walken, but Viggo
Mortensen from
I mean, the specificity on that I can go with.
Because I just think that's going to be an entertaining conversation.
Well, yeah.
Because the questions I'm going to ask her, and I'm be like, okay, listen, there's a guy in my office, we don't get along. What would you do to torture it? Just something I can do and get away with.
It's all in the back of a bar napkin right there.
Oh, okay. It was like you were just doing what? Making it rain. All right. Well, let's get back to your book, Whispers in the Dark. When did you start writing it?
At least as far back as 2009.
Damn.
Yeah, it takes forever.
So, what is your writing process? Because I don't think we talked too much about that in actual day in, day out. Because we talked about how you didn't particularly want to be a writer.
Yeah. Back then it was sort of erratic. I finished my degree in 2009, and I was going to school full time, and I was working full time. So it was just one of those things, something to do with my brain that was not law related. Yeah. So I would just write when I could, and I didn't plan the novel, which wasted huge amounts of my time and energy.
What do you mean?
Well, I think I mentioned my novels are typically like character driven. Mm-hmm. I'll have, the characters that I want, and I want, the adventure that I want them to live, the story that I want them to live. Yeah. And I kind of come up with them first. So I just kind of started that and started writing, and I did not ever sit down and plot out, okay, really like who's the villain though and what's their reason. I mean, not at the beginning of the process. At some point I had to, but at that point I had to scrap so much material. So.
But that sounds like a lot of extra work, and I understand. So, different writers have different processes. Oh, yeah. Processi. That's how you say the plural, right, James?
Not processes. But
that's not it either.
Just roll. Let's go.
They have many different facets. So, or is it faucets?
That depends on what house they live in, Joe.
You're getting angry.
You're so angry.
I'm not angry, you inbred prick. Why do I keep saying
some authors?
Tell I am mom.
You know who was really inbred? Poe and Twain.
Mainly Poe.
Worse than Hitler for sure.
He's totally worse than Hitler.
Totally worse than Hitler.
And Chad Jennings is the one who said that. All Chad Jennings.
I'm going to tag, when this goes live, I'm going to send it out over Twitter and tag the Mark Twain house. And I'm just going to let it roll. And when you start
I hope they combat us.
Oh no, I don't want to. I want to be. I want to be on their good side. That's right, Twain House.
So to recap, James Thomas's beliefs: Mark Twain sucks. Vincent Price was a hack. Booster Gold rules.
Those are all the opposite of how I feel.
It's an obscure thing. So back to it. So some authors will write out an outline.
Yeah.
I know some people who write screenplays who do that. They actually work really hard on a really detailed outline, and then they just go write the story or write the screenplay.
And then the director comes in and ruins everything.
Yeah, pretty much, and then changes everything. Yeah. Because writers are right at key grip when it comes to the importance of, how movies are made. Slightly more.
I always like when people ask if, like, well, couldn't Lee Child choose who played Jack Reacher? Like, no. I'm sure they didn't even ask him.
There was only, on one hand, can you count the authors that have had the actual opportunity and say who was going to play the lead characters in certain movies.
And sometimes they don't even they don't even care what Stephen King says sometimes.
A lot of times they don't care what Stephen King says. Actually, I'm only thinking of what's-her-face that wrote 50 Shades.
Yeah.
And
did she have a say in it, really?
I'm pretty sure she had a say in it. And
Word.
J.K.
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, okay. Huh.
Yeah, that's it. So...
Mario Puzo.
Mario
Puzo?
Would you write an outline? So, what are you going to do for your next book?
Not like... Well, I would still have, like, the same, like, initial process. Like, it's just something that kind of takes shape. Like, okay, sometimes I'll do something like, what's an interesting element I want to see in a story? What's something that might catch people's eye or might be like, oh, ooh, that kind of makes my skin crawl. I'd sure like to see that.
Sorry, somebody's staring at me from across from you.
He keeps poking me. Go back to sleep. It was easier when you were asleep.
You were saying parents and still.
I know. I'm gonna get my soda next. I want to see him with the bottle. That's how my dad raised me.
I want to assume that's my water.
It was an empty bottle. His father's an alcoholic.
I like that we all immediately laugh at that.
I actually know his dad. It's very sweet to me.
He had me as a son. You drink too.
Yeah.
I'll just say there's a reason why James is an Edgar Allan Poe fan.
I like absinthe.
So
you can check your story.
So back to your story.
We're taking it away from our guests.
But it's more interesting.
No.
How can I follow that?
Everything you say is fascinating.
Oh, well, thanks. That's nice.
What the fuck were you saying?
Well, mine tends to not be a detailed outline. It's more like once I start to, sort of formulate, okay, these are the characters and this is where I want them to go. I do things like, I might write like a backstory for somebody so that they're not like a one-dimensional type villain. Right. Like I'll do like a couple pages of, hey, this is this dude and this is what he's doing. And I'll just do like a kind of like general story arc of where I want it to go. And it's very fluid. It can change a lot because, you don't want to spend a whole lot of time doing a lot of detail when it can take a totally different direction. But not planning it all. And I know some writers, I think Stephen King actually is one of them. He does not plan. Mm-mm. And he doesn't believe in it. And obviously it works well for him. I mean,
you've seen those endings.
Yeah, I mean, some of them, but he's
I'm so sorry. What is that shelf over there? And I agree with you.
Yeah, I'm just...
Yeah, I mean...
Hold on, watch this. Let me go ahead and set you off like I always do. You know who's written more books, though? Dean Koontz.
I actually read a couple of Dean Koontz books. They're not bad.
He's a good writer. But...
He's not Stephen King.
No, when Dean Koontz wins...
He's Dean Koontz.
Yeah, he just publishes so many.
He does, and he has a tendency to kind of write the same characters. Like in some ways, it's a little bit of a Harlequin romance type setup. Like, the loner ex-military cop, whatever. The
Jack Reach.
Hell of a lot of time.
So, going along those same things, you said your outlines aren't really detailed. I guess my question would be, because I've heard J.K. Rowling say that she'll be writing and then she'll surprise herself, or she'll have that moment where
I'm sure you do that too.
Oh yeah. But I mean,
I'm all written.
I'm always interested in that because one of the things that I read by her that she was like, the first time she killed a character in the Harry Potter world, it brought her to tears. Mm. And I'm like, I've never,
never.
George R.R. Martin.
I don't see him crying over that.
I'm just like, kill them all. They're mine.
You never had an emotional attachment to something you wrote like that? I have. One thing. One thing. I was upset when it ended.
The only thing I wrote, and this isn't out there, so if anybody wants to pay me for it, that's great. But I wrote one story about a guy that was literally having a slow decline, and everything in his life that he knew was just disappearing.
So it was autobiographical?
Yeah. It was the worst side of me was coming out, and I turned it in for an assignment.
I thought I'd get a bigger laugh. Why aren't you laughing?
I turned this in for an assignment, and there's a scene, he starts off as he's a door-to-door salesman, and that's gone. The internet has destroyed it. And he keeps seeing everything, and then finally he was selling dictionary or encyclopedias door to door back in the 80s.
Oh yeah, that would be.
And then he starts to lose his mind, but he becomes obsessed that the answers are in the encyclopedia.
Well, don't give too much of this away; somebody will steal it.
And then he starts burning himself so he won't go to sleep, so he can keep reading the encyclopedia, and he has a complete and utter separation from reality and all that stuff. And I turned it in, and my favorite reaction, Gurney Norman. I doubt you're watching this, but Professor Norman.
Watch out for those names he'll be dropping.
He literally, he said, I want to talk to you in my office. This was really good. I want to talk to you. And then the funniest thing that he ever said to me, he was like, this part where he's burning himself with the cigarettes. I'm like, oh, he's going to say I went too far. He goes, we've all been there. And I'm like, no, I've never been there. I don't know. Now
you just revealed too much.
I don't know, Gurney, what sort of life you're living, but it worked for you, I guess. So
were you upset with
she did this
what
last time?
The guy?
She keeps asking questions.
No, because I'm interested in the because
you're the guest. You are the guest of honor.
I appreciate that, but it's also like it's part of
having you on.
But part of what's cool to me about writing, honestly, and even to be in this position where I have something published and people kind of want to talk to me about it, what I love is that so many people do write and
are unsuccessful like the three of us.
No, this is seriously, like, I know this is going to sound like some kind of goofy pep talk, but you're not unsuccessful at it unless you've died and done nothing. Like, you'll have plenty of time to do whatever. Writing is like the one art that you can do. I know Quint probably takes up a little bit of your time right now.
Oh, it's not even it.
He's one nacho chip away from a stroke.
One.
You couldn't bring the nacho
chip. And by the way, did you bring the nachos?
They're in the car.
Thank God.
He likes short rib nachos.
Short ribs.
Short rib nachos.
Where do you get short rib nachos?
Big Blue Martini. Nobody else, just me? Okay.
No,
we don't hang out. I'm so sorry. We do not hang out downtown with our pinkies up friends, attorneys at the Big Blue Martini waiting. Oh, I love these sports team UK game. Go Sparks!
Now I'm just going to throw my Applebee's nachos in the trash.
Look, if they're footing the bill...
Half-priced apple teeny bitches.
Oh, no.
Look, that gentleman has a ball, and he gave it to that gentleman, and he seems
I've never had an
now.
apple teeny. I
Actually,
don't know if I've ever had a
but,
martini in my life.
Well, they're good, but... I don't know short rib nachos, but in any case...
Well, I really do want to go get them. This is our next trip before we go.
They're really good.
We'll go to Big Blue
Big Blue Martini, you can sponsor us, and we'll eat them on the air.
Absolutely.
That's right, Big Blue Martini.
Because nothing will make them want to go down there more than watching fat men. I'm sorry, Chad. Watching two fat men and
Chad. Why is it just Chad? What are you implying?
Take him out of the fat man conversation.
This is water retention. Why is he mocking my medical conditions?
Right.
But does any of that prevent anyone from writing?
Well,
no, I think you're right. Go ahead.
I think,
have a comment about that.
And the final thing I'll say, no, I mean, it was probably one of the more interesting things I ever wrote. But to me, getting in that headspace, where he ended up
on an escalator,
where he ended up was logically where I would have ended up if I was in the same place, which is a negative place. He ends up.
So was your attachment to it, like, were you upset with how it ended because of your attachment to the character, or were you just upset when the project was over because you felt connected to it?
No, I like, to me, I wasn't really upset. I was like, yeah, no, this is what would happen to him. I mean, he obviously he is twerked beyond recovery. He is not going to. It's not going to be like somebody's going to go, I know the encyclopedia business drove up and you've burnt yourself repeatedly, but we're going to go ahead and get you a job at Amazon. You'll be okay. No, he's gone. He can't. And to me, that seemed much more logical than all of a sudden things turning out well for him. Like, there's no amount of he's lost what he viewed as. And one of the idea that people are rejecting knowledge is why he can't believe that this has died. And
Did you know that when you wrote it, though, that you wanted that to be an overarching theme, or is it more of what you saw after the fact?
No, I wanted to do a story about, the fact that everything is temporary now, and that we all go online and I can edit Wikipedia and say that corn chips are made out of beans, and until somebody corrects it,
or that Hitler is worse than Mark Twain.
Yeah.
And it's just out there.
Yeah,
and how many times have I said that could be a soundbite at some point later in my career? Yeah. Here we are at Thriller
Oh my God. That would be the world's best thing. Like, you get a Nobel Prize for literature like 40 years from now, and they're like, whoa, wait.
Hang on a second.
Here's one sound clip, and they're like, no, it's not yours
It's actually
anymore.
20 minutes of just her just saying that over and over and over.
To talk about on a serious note, what you were mentioning. Welcome back. What the hell were we talking about?
I don't know. I was actually just thinking UK hospital should sponsor.
Yeah, that'd be great. Well, they kind of do in a certain way. I mean, let's just be honest. Say what you will about the University of Kentucky, but if you got a Christmas present from the Lewis household,
Hashtag UK.
Hashtag.
Hashtag.
Goes football.
Hashtag James Cagney.
So, this was the question I had. Excuse me about my voice. But when you talk about writing, I do find it's probably one of the few art forms where age isn't a restriction. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And the reason I said this is because it's a slightly apropos. I don't go around telling people at work about the stuff I do outside, but some of them, of course, know about it. Like we were talking about your book.
Right, yeah.
So somebody said something to me today about, this morning when I was getting my coffee, about the cons or something, because I said, I don't know what I'll do in 20 years. They go, oh, you'll be doing blah, 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 blah. I was like, no, I assure you that there's an age limit. And I've said this more than once. At a certain point, somebody's going to look at, yeah. At a certain point, someone's going, why is the old fat guy on the stage?
That's Kevin Smith.
Kevin lost that weight 20 years ago. That ain't Kevin.
It's not just that there's not an age limit on it, but there's also not a profession limit. There's not a, my mom always said that she wrote a lot of her first stuff when we were like babies.
Yeah.
And her chapters were always super short because it was like the nap.
Right.
You know, was the length of the chapter. And she has said, and I agree that it's something that like also, you know, I think is great for like young parents to do, especially like that first year when you ain't got no part of yourself anymore because you have no time for it. You can have 5 minutes to sit down and write it. And that's another part that I meet a lot of people who say, I want to write, but I don't have the time, or I almost finished this short story. Man, you don't have to spend an hour a day. You don't have to do it all the time. Take 5 minutes a day.
But don't you think that's bullshit?
No. Honestly, don't.
No, not what you said about the second part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
It's an excuse. It's no follow through. I call bullshit because there's. I tell people this when I go talk to classes. James has heard me say it when I've had to say it in front of other people, or somebody's interested in something, and I've had to say it more than once. You'll beat out 50% of your competition if you show up.
That's okay. Yeah. No. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. As far as like getting it done, I think,
and the things I've failed at, it's been because I didn't put enough effort into it. But anyway,
that's fair. That's fair. But more from like a starting point from the people who, you know, who are not like mad because they don't have something published and haven't written, but the people who are like, man, I would love to.
That's what I run into a lot, by the way.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can't. The other thing that confuses me are people who are like, man, I wish I could write a great book. I would love to publish it. What do you read? Oh, I don't read. What?
Yeah.
How can you write if you don't read? That doesn't even make sense.
That, and I know a lot of screenwriters, and I follow a couple on Twitter, and but more than one of them has said this before. Oh, great, you have an idea, so does everyone. Ideas are a dime a dozen. Actually tell your story.
Yeah, which is a completely different skill.
Write down your story, make your movie.
Yeah.
Ideas are cheap and a dime a dozen.
Yeah. But the flip side of that is like, yes, okay, you know, you have to do it to show up. But here's the thing, pep talk time, kids. You can. You know, and that can change at any time. And I guess I just feel like, and I know all art is competitive. It totally is. Because, you know, there's
competition.
I mean, it just is. But
Darwinism. Survival of the fittest.
It's Darwinism. Life is competition.
It is, but I feel like...
There's somebody else who could write better than Twain.
Darwin?
Competition.
Mm-hmm. So help me.
All those little...
All those animals he ate.
No. Did he eat them as he was studying?
No, y'all don't. No, seriously, Darwin.
This generation is much more delicious than that.
He would travel to exotic. He would travel to exotic
locations. This shrimp comes pre-fried now.
Hold on, Darwin,
yes, where is
the Teddy Roosevelt of anti-God.
No, seriously.
Bully. I thought I would never say. Ever.
And now you have.
This is like one side of Darwin that nobody that they never talk about, is that he would go to these exotic locations for his research, and he would see an animal, he would study it, and then he would eat it.
Fuck yeah! I never knew that.
Yeah.
Where did you?
Well, because Teddy killed all the animals too, and then he would bring them back.
Well, it was first on an article on, you mentioned earlier, crack.com.
Yeah, love
Chad had an obsession with crack for a while.
I did too. Okay, who was your now? I have not read it much recently because a lot of the guys that I really liked, John Cheese, don't write as much anymore.
Right.
So who's your favorite go-to on there?
Oh man, see, I don't have an author, a particular columnist that I just
not even Buchholz, really.
No, I
guess I need to read more Cracked. I just read the ones he'd send to me.
And a lot of the ones
they're so
a lot
good.
of my favorites are gone. Like, Sean Baby still writes for them, I think.
Occasionally, kind of love Sean Baby. That is an acid trip of a guy right there.
But no, I just Crack.com. The reason I love Crack.com is they will do history articles.
Yeah,
I'm a history nerd, so.
You're also just a regular nerd.
Yes, I'm just a regular
nerd in this.
But yeah, usually it doesn't matter who wrote it. If it's a history,
sports
ball.
That gentleman has the ball. Now he's giving it to that gentleman, and he looks happy.
Why didn't you just keep the goddamn ball? Sorry.
No, but that's in any of the history articles. I'll just sit down and read and like just absorb. So I just love the history articles on Crack.com.
Oddly enough, about chat. If I were ever on a show with a phone a friend or something, and it was about a U.S. president, I actually know history professors at UK. I would call Chad.
This is good to know. All right, I'm gonna dial a Facebook friend now.
I almost bought a book on Walter or McKinley today, but I didn't.
Was that like your moment of temptation?
Yeah, it was my moment of temptation. I'm like,
looked over your shoulder longingly, and then you walked away.
I mean, he's
the president.
He's talking about Taft. He's one.
We're getting way off topic, but you're talking about a president who would be at like formal dinners, and his wife would have an epileptic seizure, and he would take a napkin and throw it over her face until it was done.
Just
which was
continue on with a coworker,
which was the style at the time.
I will tell you a story when the show's over.
Yeah. not for
no.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
good to see you.
We're getting off topic.
Believe it or not, there's stories that happen to some of these cons that we can't tell here either.
Well, I work for lawyers. I get that. Sometimes I'm like, no, no disclosure.
NDAs. Non-disclosure agreements.
Well, anyway, back to that. So, I get your point. I just find it interesting that you don't, because a lot of the most successful, it seems like the most successful writers I know, except for George R.R. Martin, have this discipline of X amount of time or every day or something like that.
Well, and I guess maybe if that's what you get to do full time, I can see that being a thing. And probably, I'm not someone who's built to do something like that full time. Because I need some structure. Like, if I just was like, if it was just like, here, you just write, we'd like to see a book in a year. I don't know when you see that book, if ever. I don't know if I might
20 minutes before it's
all
due.
day. You know, like,
your ulcer won't let you.
No, well, that bitch can't win everything.
Does it have a name?
No.
Gwendolyn. It does now. It's called
All right. For Patreon.
Gwendolyn.
Gwendolyn? Okay, I'll take it.
No. We are eventually going to do Patreon. If you give us enough money, you get to name Laurel's ulcer.
Yes.
What's the name? Is it Marla from Fight Club?
Yeah.
If I had a tumor, I would name it Marla.
That could be. Yeah. I actually have named every organ I've had to have removed. So that's, I don't want to remove
heart, kidney, spleens.
It's got dark quick.
It's called just gallbladders and appendixes.
I got struck by lightning, Smithers.
Oh, so much for me giving you all that fried food.
What's the sensation in my chest? That's your heartbeat, sir. Ah, the memories. Some of my favorite lines.
So, now that this is done, what's next?
Well, I pretty much, when I ship this off to the agent, I turn around and start my next project. Because
you hear it here at Bonehead first.
Well, it's called Silent Key as of right now. It's with my agent.
Sequel to Do My Key, written by Stephen King.
Ooh, I did. You know what? I feel like that's an underappreciated.
I think it's an underappreciated. I
love that one
too.
That's
because Stephen King is best at writing characters. That's. I think that's the fatal flaw in most movie adaptations.
It is that they can't capture that.
I believe, no matter how crazy the situation or how shitty the ending, I believe that person exists.
He writes in 3 dimensions and they adapt to 2.
That's true. That's accurate.
Yes, Kenny Rogers took him to the 5th.
You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
Speaking of 2-dimensional, Tom Sawyer.
People, Huckleberry Fred, people seeking to find meaning in this work shall be shot.
And this is also going to be followed by 200 pages of racism.
Oh, that was kind of the intent.
Oh my God, he was a man of his time. That's never been a good argument ever.
No, he actually was. Have you read Huck Finn?
No.
Of course you haven't.
I watched the documentary Ken Burton's made about...
he was extremely mad. They made him...
Cassius Clay? No. What was Mark Twain's real name?
Samuel Langhorne.
Samuel Clemens. That's it.
Cassius Clay.
I saw that movie with Elijah Wood and Ron Perlman out there giggling.
Actually create a pen name. You're Richard Bachman, and it needs to be,
just everything in a Scottish accent.
And it needs to be literally. You need to make up an entire
Scottish Dick. Scottish R.A. Dick.
Written by Scott. No, I'm just gonna put Scottish Dick. Written by Scottish Dick.
But you need to have
Scotch eggs.
You need to have an entire.
Nothing like it.
Ever had spotted dick? Nothing like that.
Nothing like that.
You need to have an entire made-up backstory about how you're raised in Scotland by Poland immigrants, like something that's far out there.
That's amazing.
So. Raised by a demon that was in a closet in an inch of water. We don't know why.
That's specific.
Very specific.
I like to picture things.
James was raised with the belief that nothing could not be fixed with a small closet, this much water, and low voltage.
That's beautiful.
I still smell smoke to this day.
It's his nose hair. They caught fire in all fall. And they still burn like that West Virginia town.
The embers. The diesel embers. We have went. This is the episode that we have went most off the charts every time.
She keeps asking us questions.
I feel.
You talked about your nose being on fire. I just pictured a cow kicking it.
I talked about his nose.
I know. Mrs. O'Leary's cow started this noise. Yeah. I got too close to the lantern.
I'm really glad that you followed that thought down, because I've been trying to sort out some of the stuff. Like, are they all quotes? Are they all like stories from before? Where did that story come from? And why are they all thinking of it at the same time? This is interesting.
No.
A person could do a study on this.
Yes. When we worked on movies and short films and stuff like that.
Before we gave up the ghost.
Well, no, but
we were going to do another one, I promise, for you people. For you two who loved Murder Virgin. By the way, Lexington Film League did not write me back.
When we, really?
Yeah. Who gets turned down by Lexington Film League?
We did, evidently.
Played it other.
Hold on. Robert Redford turned us down, and Lexington Film League, the two top tiers.
It's so funny. I'll tell you the story after the show.
But anyway, no. But when we write stuff like that, it's funny because when we read it, we can be like, Chad wrote that line. That's Joe. That's James. Chad. Yeah. And there's times when I'm like, I need just a poop joke here. What would Chad write?
That's beautiful.
But some of them.
Do you know how few people have those kinds of relationships?
Yeah, but some people, if we broke it down, would say, "Oh no, Joe wrote that," and I'd be, "Whoa, normally I'd agree with you." No, Mr. Thomas. I'm sorry, Dr. Jerkface was in a pretty dark mood.
But he was channeling you at that time. Like he was saying,
no,
I need a poop joke. What would Chad have said?
No, and that's actually what's funny is when I do write, one of the best writing assignments I ever got was they were like, well, you just need to get in a different mindset. Write a character that's the exact opposite of you. And that's the only thing they said. I'm like, well, if they were the exact opposite of me, they'd be made of antimatter. They'd be a rapist. So I've got an antimatter rapist.
Yeah, right. They'd be a rapist, anti-J.
I mean,
hashtag burning forest and nose liar.
And wait, that didn't qualify as a
could do 20 jumping jacks in 2 minutes.
I just wanted to go back to the embers. Since hot fall.
The City of Embers could have been filmed. Anyway, nobody saw that movie. Nobody saw that movie.
So your book is at the publisher right now. With your agent.
It's out.
My agent has it.
So it's done.
Yeah, well, it's something like that as ever is until it gets... So the process the last time was he read it, his assistant read it, they gave me notes. I did editing. Send it to the publisher, they give you notes, that kind of thing. So yeah, but it's polished enough to be my agent's hands, yeah.
That's exciting, because this bastard just came out.
Yeah, but it's from my perspective, my gosh, everything has taken so long,
Oh, no. We get that with the short films. We've actually been on something else while something. Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you catch? I just said gosh, and I'm a little bit proud of myself because I've been trying so hard not to
curse? You failed at it.
No, I know, but for my, not here, but for my kids. So anytime I without thinking about it, do it, I'm really...
He's 1.5 and he's starting to get certain words, and I'm really going to have to work on it.
Just start screaming snickerdoodles every time. That way when we hear Quentin say snickerdoodles, we'll be like...
know exactly what
yeah,
it
that's...
I say French toast all the time.
Oh, what was it? You need to bring
But it's
back...
because you really like French toast.
You need to bring...
You're ordering it.
You need to bring...
You put mother in front of it.
Good job on not cussing them on mother.
And you're at the you get French toast.
IHOP.
Yeah, you're at the IHOP, ma'am. You sure that was on the menu?
Oh my God, no, that would be bad. So we no longer have the at IHOP. We've stopped doing the Grinch promotional French toast and moved on to the MFN French toast. It comes with your choice of bananas.
We're now sponsored by 50 Shades.
I was gonna say, no, the Morgan Fairchild French toast.
Easy now.
That's obscure.
I know.
Oh, Morgan.
See you in court, Morgan.
So,
Yeah. So, well, and as far as like starting another project immediately, that's another piece of advice I would do. When you ship it off, go ahead and start on something else.
Well, and you mentioned as much as anything is done, it actually made me think one of my favorite quotes that I've ever heard from somebody working on something was that great works of art are never finished, they just have to be abandoned. Because when you're working on something...
True.
a lot of people said that about movies. Lucas has said that about movies. And
You
movies
rip it
never
apart.
finish.
Like I can, and I think that's one of the things. If you are a writer, and maybe you can chime in on this, but I think that's my critique of myself is I'm my own worst enemy because I go back and read it and be like, no, this is crap. Put it back in the drawer. I'm not going to.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that you have to overcome that I haven't. Not saying I would be anywhere if I did. But.
This episode started to run about 2 hours. I do have one. Do you have a question?
No. The same.
We got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you write short stories?
I don't. But I've kind of... I feel like that's almost a separate skill set.
It is?
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah, and I'm not sure it's anything that I'd be good at, but it's sort of like, you see a lot of things when you're trying to get your name out there and everything, it's like, oh, if you could get in a couple other publications with a short story, it might help, but I'm like, I don't really know that I have that in me.
But it's
Would you write a movie?
I mean, as far as like format-wise?
Screenplay?
I don't know whether I'd be good at that or not.
You don't know till you try.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
Actually,
Do you have a burning desire, I guess?
Not really. Not really. I like novels. I like prose. And I like, I don't know.
Prose before.
Oh my God, I want that.
That's... Oh, can that be like an Edgar Allan?
That.
Yeah, yes.
You need to copyright that
and
right
to have
now
like
and
that
put it
at like
on
the
shirts.
Poe's Tavern.
Well, I think this is going to be the episode title.
Yeah.
Oh, ooh, okay. Strongly approved.
Only I'll be a dumbass because we no longer our producer director quit, and I'll be a dumbass
Under mysterious circumstances.
I will write PROS.
Pros before O's. And then people will assume that I'm a prostitute.
Or a professional.
I'm not a prostitute.
A professional prostitute.
By the way, the fact you felt the need to say, I am not.
It's pronounced paralegal.
What's the difference?
The pay.
And
The pay. The prostitutes make more money.
benefits.
Prostitutes have more benefits.
Probably.
You guys have any more questions?
I do actually have one question.
Of course you do.
If somebody came to you right now, let's say Universal called you up and said, we want to make this into a film, and we will give you casting decisions, what would be some people you would think about?
Oh, that's a good question.
Ooh,
Morgan Fairchild.
Well, clearly.
Morgan Freeman.
David Morse for Sam, definitely.
That's good for you. David Morse is an underutilized, great character actor.
Yeah, and he's got kind of that, like, quiet kind of...
I haven't seen him in a lot in the last few years.
Well, he was in Horns. How long ago was that, though? That's been a while.
He was also in that Will Smith movie about the football concussion thing, too. But he's only in it for like the first 15 minutes.
Yeah. David Morse. And then for Rose, that's a really good question. I almost want to say Janine Garofalo a little bit because she's kind of like a little bit off the... No, well, who would you think?
Oh, I was going to be a smart ass and say Kim Kardashian or some asshole. I don't know.
Yeah, no. Not so much.
What's her name for Mandy again?
Oh,
what's her age again?
Right?
Mid-30s.
Mid-30s. Yeah, Janine's a little old.
I guess.
Truth about cats and dogs, Jenny Garofalo.
Yeah. Truth about her. Yeah. Or I don't know. That's a good question. It's interesting that I have a dude for that, and not a chick.
Yeah. #feminism. We really need to stop saying hashtag in the shows.
Or we need to actually start using them to get the shows out to more people.
Do you guys actually have Twitter?
Yeah,
yes.
we do have a Twitter.
Yeah. We could tweet you. Do you have the tweets?
I actually don't. But I know.
I noticed your. I do
Instagram. Yeah.
I was going to look for you on Twitter because I was like, when this comes out, well, and then I noticed your mother does have a Twitter.
Yes,
because she tweeted about you.
Yes.
And sent your book out and everything.
Yeah, mom has Twitter and I don't, so I'll bear that shame for a minute. But yeah, I know I need to get Twitter. I'm just the whole social anxiety thing.
Oh no! I literally get on there, and what's really weird is I know nobody that I work with watches this, so I can say this. It was the weirdest thing because my college started to follow me. And I'm just like, I can't go off about, not that I ever did anyway, but I'm like, what if I did want to tweet something like, cats kill puppies on Ritalin? I don't know.
And then it's like one of my attorneys, Jason, hi, opened up, he's like, comes over with his phone the other day, and he starts reading from my interview with, like, Hell Notes. Yeah. And it's just like, of course I posted on Facebook, he's my Facebook friend, but there's just something a little bit, it's like, it's just, like, out there. It's a
little, they found out at work. I mean, it wasn't hard, and some of them are Facebook friends, so, and I obviously, and we need to, you want to restart it real quick, and then we'll end?
Yeah, we'll
All right, for our last few questions, I agree. Some of the people I know work bring it up from time to time or something, but
in some ways it's encouraging. Like, it's awesome, Yeah. But it's also a little bit of a merging of worlds, which is
last couple of questions.
Two things I wanted to ask. Along the same note.
What's your favorite ice cream?
Coffee.
Three things.
What? Hold on, stop. Coffee ice cream.
Yeah.
And my wife.
My wife loves it.
I don't drink coffee ice cream.
Maybe. I don't
drink coffee. He only drinks vanilla ice cream.
My favorite ice cream? Oh, man.
He likes water and bread for dipping.
He likes ice.
A little water on the side for dipping. Some people like creamy. Some people like crunchy.
Oh, Chad likes it creamy. I guarantee it.
Honestly, it's I kind of like peanut butter ice cream, and then Ben and Jerry's Americone Dream.
Oh, that's Stephen Colbert.
Have you had baseball nut at Baskin Robbins?
He's been hit by the baseball several times in the groin.
That's a lot cleaner than I was going. Thank you so much.
I was trying to stop you from doing it by
so much. He's busted his baseball.
See, from the window.
He'll never try the flavor.
Whoa.
From that window
now
to the wall.
Feet baseball nut.
Hashtag home run. Hashtag third base.
Baskin Robbins.
Hashtag shampooing a buffalo.
I was going to say sponsorship by Baskin Robbins, but they're never going to want to now.
No. You were...
What?
Are you done?
I'm done.
Chastising the kids?
Yeah.
For her shitty taste in ice cream.
It just means more for me. Like,
I was about to say.
There's like a carton of Briars. Right before I let the zombies eat me, I'm like, wait, there's one last carton. Let me get this shit.
And then they'll walk away.
Me and everyone else's wife will be sitting there surviving, quietly eating ice cream. We'll be fine.
Talking about doing that and the social anxiety side of it, the other thing that I'm always impressed by certain authors' ability to do is do those public readings.
Yeah.
And then to take question and answer.
Yeah.
If you were asked to do that, how would you process that? Because I think that's one of the things that I would have an impossible time doing. And I've seen so many people do it, and I'm like,
Do a Q&A?
No, do a public reading, and then you just read a chapter. After. And then you do a Q&A after.
I would probably honestly do a couple shots beforehand. Like, and this, it's, again, I work for attorneys, and like, when they go to trial or when they have to present at a hearing, it's almost the same thing. It's a public performance. And like, guys that I know that have done this for years, like, have the same issue. Before they go up, it's like, they feel like they're going to be sick, and it's, there's a lot of like nervousness, and then you just have to get up and do it.
Yeah, but that's the same way I approach teaching.
So they're not
a couple shots to get on it. You what now?
The attorneys, did they not have like stage presence, or they're not outgoing? They have.
Oh, they no, hella stage presence. A lot, I I really love my job and I really like the people I work with, but I'm always really impressed with like watching some of our, because I do a lot of like transcription after the fact. And I mean, there's so many mic drops with these people. It's amazing. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
But, you know, that's really interesting. The reason I'm interested in social anxiety, because I have that. But
is this a social anxiety couch?
Yes.
You're not?
Yeah.
You're in the, that's when you're in the chair?
Have you met me?
But you know, it's funny to me because that's one thing I have learned from doing
but...
cons and doing moderating is how many actors who, you know, go out and do things and you're just like, oh, they're going to be, and then they're like, I just can't do, I don't want to, you know, or they won't do it.
Well, it was like Peter Sellers, you know, he would always say, you can ask me to do a character, don't ask me to be Peter Sellers.
That was his problem with the Muppet Show.
Yeah.
When he did the Muppet Show, was that they always have that where Kermit would talk to the guests.
Yeah.
Peter Sellers, do you know?
Thank you for doing this, Joe. So we knew you.
This is a Muppet. This is a Muppet saying "fuck you, James."
Are you Grover? Hashtag trending.
Hashtag Frank Oz is pissed. Did you see his comeback? I read his tweets. Anyway,
And Mark Hamill, he went back on Mark Hamill and goes, of course he didn't say it. And I was like, dude, Mark Hamill was just pointing out that it's trending. Okay.
Sorry. Anyway, I forgot what we were talking about.
You were the one who was talking. You're like, anyways, please proceed.
I don't remember. That was his one problem was that scene, he couldn't be himself. He doesn't do himself.
So
Shut up. Why do you do this to me?
Going on from the public reading.
Keep up the good work.
Going on from the public reading thing, I've heard some authors talk about
Hallmark.
A Christmas Miracle. The Hallmark Channel. She'll find a man. It's Christmas.
The hometown stud.
The hometown
By the way,
young son will teach her about the true meaning of Christmas.
By the way,
who is just a good old boy in an old pickup.
Why is it
never
always
meaning no harm?
Why? My problem with all those movies, all of those. By the way, if anybody wants to hire me, Hallmark, I'll work for you. Why is it never like he's the Star Wars nerd that hasn't left the basement in 15 years?
They're always
he's going to show her about love on the 12th day of Star Wars Christmas.
On Life Day.
Life Day.
Well, it's it's funny. Like J.K. Rowling, you know, she said that people surprise or like her writing surprised her sometime. My male lead in the book that's with my agent now, it sounds weird, but he introduced himself to me as someone with social anxiety. Like originally that was not what I was planning to do. And he was just a normal outgoing guy. And then I was like, oh, no, you're not. You know, and that's
the great part about writing. That's the great part about being creative is surprising yourself and having the journey, which is why I agree with Stephen King about the outline sometimes as a peg because you want to.
Well, but as long as it's fluid and you're not,
you know, and going back, I think, and character development, all of that stuff, and I mentioned Dean Koontz earlier. The one line from a Dean Koontz novel I remember is it's from Hideaway, but it goes back.
Hideaway.
It goes back to that.
He's done this on the show before.
His wife is an artist.
Why are you laughing, Jack?
And when they crash, there's just one line.
Hideaway every third episode.
Well, is it
really?
I swear to God.
It's my favorite Dean Koontz novel. But
it's also his favorite movie.
No, I hate that movie.
Jeff Goldblum.
That movie is not based on that book. Anyway, but it's the line where she's an artist and it builds up, oh, she's a very successful artist, and after the crash, and she's in the water and everything, and she can't see, and it's one line, blindness, my secret fear. And I'm like, oh, because you're an artist. Yeah. Obviously, that would be... So I think the discovery of lines like that... Moving on to my final question before
there's the Torah, there's the Bible.
It's
Quran. There's Quran. There's Ron Jeremy's autobiography. But none of them come close.
No, I just don't one line. One line. No, I'm talking about just single lines. I can't tell you much else about that book, but I remember that line. But knowing that there's certain authors that have said that they like certain people to do the audiobook version. Same thing. John Scalzi likes to use Will Wheaton. I know Ernest Cline has used Will Wheaton a couple times. And
just 2 books.
Well, that being said,
just 2 more than me.
If you get to pick, who would you have read some of your books? Who would you have read this one? Would it be the same for the next one, or does the tone change that much?
I think the tone definitely changes. Man, as far as like voice art, like I'm trying to think. I kind of almost want to keep going with David Morse on that because I also really like his voice, but I'm not sure how it would like translates to her novel.
Your attraction to older men manifests itself in every third
You didn't
question.
automatically think you need to have Christopher Walken do it? Listen.
I mean, yeah.
Or Norm Macdonald. Gilbert Gottfried.
I kind of want to do it myself.
Well, that was going to be my other question.
And everybody's Scottish.
Would that be...
Or, Russian or anything else.
You did do a good Russian last time.
My husband's ex-wife is Russian. Must be able to mock her. Sorry, Elena. You're never going to watch this.
Hey, we're big in
Actually, we're really big in India.
India, oddly enough, really.
My stepson actually he's half Russian and he's fluent in both. Very impressive. So yeah, he kindly does not mock my Russian accent.
So
and he got Trump elected.
He had nothing to do with that.
Your stepson is a Russian troll.
Run, Arthur.
He took down that Solo movie too, according to Ron Howard.
That I saw in person.
Thanks. Now you talking about my hideaways? Did I mention I met Ron Howard? Look at me. My name's Chad.
Okay, hideaway's been brought up. Chad meeting Ron Howard's now been brought up. Now James is going to be talking about his professor gig.
No.
At least I got to talk about David Morris at least 3 times.
So you would be interested in reading it yourself?
Yeah, I would.
I would get Maurice LaMarche to read it as Orson Welles.
Actually, I would. That's going to be mine.
That would be totally.
That's going to be mine.
Not that you're not amazing,
but who can compete with that?
No one.
No one.
But no, that's all. Because I think one of the
Tori
things.
Amos. Maybe Tori Amos.
I think one of the things that I do like
such a bummer.
No, I mean, could we do a musician? Not is she?
I mean, she is a musician.
For some
Slightly
reason,
whiny.
For some reason, my mind automatically went to Sarah McLachlan, and every third line she'd be like, "The dogs are starving. It's your fault."
I hate those commercials.
I do too. It's one of
They're
those.
so manipulative because the only people they really bother are the ones that already have 47 animals.
Yeah. Well, and it's not like anybody that hates. It's not like Michael Vick saw it and went, "Oh, I did wrong." Hashtag timely. But no, one of the things, the reason I wanted to ask that was if you would read it yourself, because I think when the author reads it, they know what points they want to hit, what inflections they want.
Well, and it's Mom's my favorite book of Mom's. It's called Satan's Lambs, which I think I mentioned before. And it came out on audio when I was a kid. And I remember listening to it and thinking it was the weirdest thing that it wasn't my mom reading it. Yeah. It was the weirdest thing to me.
Do you remember?
Not a clue. I'd have to go back and look.
Please let me William Shatner.
Satan's lamb.
Please let me William Shatner. Say
in a world.
These lambs belong to Satan. Hence the apostrophe. Yes.
Oh, no.
Showing possession.
Read by Wilford Brimley. What? Diabetes killed these lambs.
Satan's lambs. But they were Satan's lambs.
That lamb lost a hoof. But it could get us medical supplies.
It behooves you.
Do you still hear them scream?
Once again, we wandered off topic. But no, I do want to say I'm finishing the book now. I do really enjoy it. I do think that we're wrapping up.
She's got children that are
trying to wrap up
in social services.
I'm trying to wrap this up and help her sell books.
And one that's trying to ruin the 2020 election. She got to get back.
It's like, Arthur, you Russian troll bastard.
Anyway, no,
he's not.
We talked about this in the beginning of the episode.
You say. Before we established you're no liar.
We talked about this in the beginning of the episode before we had all those ads by Jack's Spleen Shop.
George's Spleen Jack?
Then call Jack.
Well, Jimmy Jack, that's spleen.
For all your spleen jacking needs.
Jimmy Crack.
Jimmy Crack spleens. And
I don't care. Jimmy Crack spleen.
Actually, that was where you're going.
Anyway, Lord. I do want to say what I like about the book, and I mentioned this in the first part, but I want, as we get ready to wrap up, you have a female character that is really fleshed out, that has definite flaws, definite boundaries, definite things like that, and reading it is just fascinating because everything that happens in the book obviously gets really intense, but I buy into that character because it's not one-dimensional,
That's awesome.
It's not.
That's really good to hear.
It's just not a one-dimensional. And once again,
if I ever finish reading it, I will let you know something positive.
If Miss Daisy will finish teaching him how to read.
Well, I have a standing
That's
agreement.
Aura.
If you
quote from
if you hate it, we never have to speak of it again.
No,
because I will never ask anyone, "Hey, what'd you think?" Because if you hate it, that's okay.
That's actually a good advice.
Yeah,
because there's a friend whom I work with, and I've known for a long time, and we really did do a pretty big ass short comedy, right? That was supposed to be 10, that turned into like 30 minutes, dark comedy called Murder Virgin, and we showed it to a lot of people, and I remember showing it to him, and him going, "Huh," and I was like, "What'd you think?" And you could see him trying not to tell me it was dog turd.
And it's better just not to put.
And he wouldn't say that it was a piece of shit, but he wouldn't say it was good either.
Well, and actually, I guess I did have one final
so he
question.
Just wouldn't
then.
lie. So.
As you think about social media, as you talk about that side of things, I read recently, I think it was either Robert Cargill or John Scalzi, one of them, because I follow authors on Twitter because they're fascinating, and I envy them, and I need to work toward that and stop having the social anxiety. But one of the things that one of them tweeted, and it may have been Robert Cargill, said, please, if you are doing something, if you read one of my works and all of that stuff, or if you see a review of it and it's negative, feel free not to tag me.
If I thought you were going to say just write a page a day, you'd have a novel.
Oh no, that's true too. Yeah. But he was saying, I think it was him. He said, you don't have to. I can find the negative reviews. It's not hard.
And I will. I will.
Will you?
Yeah, I mean, I won't want to. But, when you see, like, stuff on Goodreads and stuff, it's, and you could have 20 good reviews.
Oh, the negative
and the one
always.
That's just going to, like, stab you in the heart. And it could just be someone who still hates you from high school.
Yeah. What you need to do is...
There's probably a lot of
I gave up pillows.
Let me... That bitch holds a pillow in all of her hands.
I'm telling you, it was more than once it was brought up about
Did it really actually bother you?
I don't know that it bothered me, but it made me self-conscious of it. So obviously, yes, in a sense.
But
I love
it's very comfortable.
What you need to do...
I'm jealous of you right now. It looks like I'm staring at you. I'm really staring at the pillow.
No, I know. It's a pillow.
What you need to do is develop the B. Arthur approach to criticism. Have you ever heard the story about the second season of... why would you? But second season of Golden Girls?
No. But you have quite a range, James.
He does. I can't do
He's going to start talking about Mama's Family any minute now.
I can't do the gentleman from that recently passed away.
Never mind.
I can't do math, but I carry this. But the story was that...
Super Dave Osborne.
Yep. Super Dave Osborne passed
away. Nakatomi Plaza.
Never forget.
Fist with your toes.
But...
yes. God bless you for knowing that.
But the...
she said fist with your toes.
B. Arthur, the story goes that during the second season of Golden Girls, somebody in Florida, of course, wrote in a letter to TV Guide saying, I enjoyed the first season of Golden Girls, but I think it's just getting repetitive now. I don't think the second season's as good. B. Arthur contacted TV Guide and said, I want her address. And for whatever reason, TV Guide gave her the address.
That sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah, well, she didn't send a letter. She called locally and went, this is the address, this is the name, I want the phone number. She called this poor woman in Florida and was like, what do you think we could do better? And she goes, well, no, I just think that, they could develop... No, I want you to tell me what you think this show needs. And the lady actually retracted her letter to TV Guide because B. Arthur was like, if you can't tell us what we need to do better, that's not a critique.
Which is actually accurate.
It is.
And the lady literally backed down. And I was sitting there going... I will never be able to respond. The two people I will never respond as well as to criticism would be Harlan Ellison and B. Arthur. Because I just can't be... I'm like, okay, it's your opinion, man. Cool. Anyway.
All right. We have to kill the show. So, before we go...
We did that on episode 3.
We didn't make it to 100 episodes.
No, sir. It was an abortion from the get-go.
A culinary... No, it's not culinary.
I saw clothes hangers.
You just lost your far-right sponsor just now.
Well, oddly enough, one of the people that shares this quite a bit is a friend of ours who is extremely far-right. 2 of them.
Yeah.
Oddly enough.
Transcends politics. You guys are bipartisan.
We're by something.
He had grapefruit just for you.
You know what we learned in
I feel like mapping this out. Like as far as like what connects, what's a quote, what's a story, where did it come from?
No, I usually say pineapple.
What did we learn?
Grapefruit came first.
What did we learn from the gentleman who was studying?
It's never been respectful of the pineapple. I got you. I got mine.
Isn't pineapple like the signal for swingers?
What?
Yeah, like I've heard that if there's like a pineapple like outside somebody's house, like it's indicative that they're a swinger.
Are you serious? I've never heard that.
I cannot testify.
Well, I gotta go get my pineapple out the damn windows. I was getting them right
to everybody.
That's why you've been
This
passed up so many
explains why.
Just
random people having sex with you and your wife. He didn't want to be rude.
I gotta quit dressing like the Chiquita Banana Lady.
Speaking of underculture, and unexplored cultures, Joe, what did we learn in training from the gentleman who was teaching us about the hidden culture of gay and lesbian culture back in the 90s? It's
buy now, gay later.
That's right, Joe.
Nice. Buy now, gay later.
Yeah, I was like, I can't. I mean, I'll never get to use that, but he assured us that that was a thing.
You know, it can still happen.
On that note.
All right, yeah.
All right, we'd like to thank our furry watchers. I don't know. So how can they get your book?
Amazon.com.
Amazon.com.
BarnesandNoble.com.
BarnesandNoble.com.
Journalstone.com.
Journalstone.com.
And ask Joseph Beth if they'll carry it. I need to actually do that myself, too. It'd probably be swell if I asked them. But yeah, it'd be great if like the local bookstores would carry it. It'd be awesome.
I don't understand why you don't do actual signings at the local bookstore. It seems like a non...
It seems like there's less of them, though, than there used to be, because Morris went out of business.
I would say, less bookstores?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wild Figs. Wild Figs is open.
Okay,
on, like, 6th Street.
Yeah.
You give me 10 copies, I'll go to Half Price Books.
Well, you know what? The thing is the copies, actually. I think that, and I don't know if it's true, and I actually don't know for sure with my publisher, like, what their agreement is. But anymore, a lot of them don't necessarily have the same buyback agreement where the store can say ship us 30, and if we don't sell 15 of them, you'll buy them back. Oh, wow. So it's a little bit more of a risk for the bookstores. I don't know how accurate that is with all of them, but there's your... So
they can go to cornerstore.what?
Journalstone.
Amazing Zone.
Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
And Barnes and Cables.
And more important than that, if you borrow it from someone, perfectly cool with me. Doesn't have to be
bitch. Don't be a dick.
Leave a review. Only if you like
it. A good one.
But, I mean, go to Goodreads.
Have you looked at our listeners and watchers?
Go to Goodreads, go to Amazon if you would, and leave a review if you feel so inclined. But reviews are our lifeblood.
And they can follow you on Instagram.
Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook. I have a Facebook page. And yes, I'm going to get a Twitter. I promise.
Please treat the book better than you treat this show.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did buy my copy. Did buy my copy through Amazon Prime. It'll be on your door in 2 days.
I'm also buying a copy. If you buy a copy and track her down at her home, she'll sign it for you.
She lives
at
1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
I was going to say Remora.
I have a pit bull. Actually, really do.
Just a bald guy that goes. He can't do the bad.
He's going to do the He'll do the Men in Black 3 team for you.
I tried to do the Sanford and Son with Pitbull.
Oh my God! I would actually listen to him. I would listen to him beatboxing the Sanford and Son theme. I would buy Pitbull. If you're watching, please let your fans know.
We'll all download it. We'll all download it. All of us.
Just beatbox.
But seriously, go out and buy the book. We're buying it. Feel free to follow you on Facebook and Instagram. As far as Bonehead goes, this is kind of our new start. We're going to be having some more guests as we're coming up. We need you to share us on social media. You need to subscribe on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Anything else before we go?
Buy the book. I'm being serious. Buy the book.
Buy the ticket. Take the ride. That's what Harlan Ellison.
Hunter S. Thompson.
Woo!
See, he brings up Harlan Ellison every episode. Never gets it right.
I know.
Never gets it right. Thank you so much to our wonderful guest.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week. We may have her on again.
Could happen.
Could happen.
Unless the lawyer says no.
If only you would have
no.
raised up your hands like this and there's handcuffs.
It's
I know, or you just want to look directly into the camera. Let my family go. Let my family go now.
I love you, Sebastian. No, I saw. Oh, I have a message.
When you say I love you, Sebastian, I don't think you're talking about your son. Foul core!